guys, so welcome to video number 2 of, I'm not sure how many, on the, I'm gonna call this White Cane series because I don't know what else to call it. So right now I am in a giant lecture hall, but no one's in here, so it's really nice. And so I'm recording. So I literally have the most durable cane in the world because it got run over by a car yesterday and it's still fine. So I was walking and I was on this part, so they had stopped enough before the crosswalk that I could go, and I knew that they saw me, so went ahead and crossed everything. Well, then I had to turn to walk alongside them. It was like I think it was maybe a semi-truck, but it could have been just a regular truck with a trailer on the back. So I was walking alongside them, and it was at a part where if I veered too much to the left, I would end up in a driveway, and there was a car on the left. And if I would have veered too much to the right, I would have been in the street. And so there was no curb to let me know where I was. There's just a little crack. And so I had to be on the crack. So I kind of had to be a little bit, probably like 2 centimeters in the street. Like my cane tip was in the street just a little bit. Because the only way to differentiate the street from the driveway was just texture. That it wasn't even, there was a little bit of crack, but aside from that, it was just texture. So my tip wasn't too far in. I kind of moved it into the driveway more because there was a giant truck and it causes sound shadows, so it sounded like it was closer than it actually was, probably, to me. So I scooted all the way in as far as I could without veering, because it wasn't windy yesterday, but I had nothing to keep me straight because there was no one ahead of me or anything. It was really nice yesterday morning. So I'm walking and I'm by the library, so it's kind of like a driveway / parking lot, and so if I would veer, I would be in trouble. Actually, I don't know if it's a parking lot, that might be wrong. More like a driveway, but it's a huge driveway, so if I veered, I would be in trouble because there's no truncated domes, really, like no anything to really guide me. So if I would veer, I would be in trouble because it was like 7:30 in the morning, no one was around. Take that back, there was someone around. They went ahead of me into the library. So there was people around, but I don't know if they saw what happened. If they would have, I would have hoped that someone would have saw me and pulled me out of the way, but they didn't, so I assume no one saw. So I was walking, and the trailer, I don't know, I've never seen like a truck and a trailer, so I assume that they go straight, like with the truck, like the truck's pulling it and it just pulls behind, like that's how I picture it. But I was talking to someone and they explained that a semi, whenever it turns, the trailer doesn't turn with it like I imagine. Because I'm just imagining like a giant, pretty much a longer truck. I mean, I know the trailer's separate, like a separate vehicle / part, but I imagine them all going the same direction and not having a separate way to turn. But someone explained that whenever a semi turns, the trailer doesn't always turn with it. It kind of curves weirdly. But this one wasn't turning. It was just going straight. So I assumed that they got too close to the curb and didn't realize how close they were. Because normally they'll if they see me walking, they'll at least give me enough space to move. Because they know I have to stick my cane in the street. But at this point, I didn't even have my cane in the street, so that kind of scared me. Anyway, so, sorry, I keep getting distracted by little details. So, the trailer must have, curved, I guess it would be outward towards me, because inward would be, the median on the street. So, they curved outward, and I was still walking, but I was slower because I couldn't hear anything else around me because it was just so loud. And so I was paying very, very much attention. I had my tracker GPS because I was trying to get to the nearest one of the buildings. And I've been having trouble finding it because they cut down the bushes that I use. And anyway, so I had that on, but it wasn't guiding me. I was paying attention to my surroundings like I'm supposed to. And it was sunny out, so, I mean, I know that because my eyes were killing me, but I wasn't having a migraine or anything during that time, so I was very alert, I was very aware of what was happening. And so my cane was in the driveway, and the trailer curved outward towards me, I assume, or it might have been going straight, because I don't know if I did something wrong or if they did, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't me, because I was paying attention. But, you know, I'm not blaming the driver or anything, because it happens. So, the trailer curved outward, and I had my cane, like, in my hand, you know, angled, and I think it might have been, like, even the second or third joint up, because I know it's really close to my hand, and I just felt like this force pushing my cane down and, like, smashing it to the ground, even though it was still in my hand. Like, the elastic was kind of moving in there, and the cane was, like, not being pulled, but just, like someone had taken their foot and, like, kicked it down, or stepped on the joints, except it was, like, a really hard pull, like, and if it would have pulled so hard that it would have taken my cane out of my hand, I would have just let it go, and then probably cried, because this is my favorite cane. Yeah, so anyway, so it pulled, didn't really pull, we're gonna call it punched, so it punched my cane, and, like, I felt it, like, one of the joints, like, hit the ground. That's how hard it was, heavy the thing was, and it took me a minute to figure out what was happening, because it was one of the back wheels, so I assume it must have curved, because it wasn't, if it was the same, my cane stayed in the same place, pretty much, so, if it would have been, the trailer would have been straight, the front wheels would have got it too, but it didn't. So, literally, my cane got run over by a semi-trailer, and I assume it wasn't loaded, but I have no idea. It could have been. So I assumed it curved. That's why only one wheel ran over it. And so I was like, did that really just happen? You know, I was in, like, so much shock. I was like, what? Like, that's never happened in my life. What did I do? And because my first instinct is, like, I did something wrong. And of course, sighted people are going to assume that I did something wrong because, well, not all, some sighted people that don't have any knowledge of canes are going to assume that the blind person did something wrong. That's just how it is. But in this case, I don't think I did anything wrong. Because trust me, I would know if I did something wrong that would cause that, and it'd be fine. Like, I would probably make a video about it anyway and be like, I did this, and I'm gonna fix it next time, you know? Well, anyway, so I was, like, shaking a little bit because I almost died. Like, I was probably not died. Probably, like, my foot would have been broken. But, I mean, I wasn't that far from my cane tip. Like, when I stand, my cane tip's probably about, I don't know. I'm not good with distances, but it's not too far. Probably, like, a step ahead of me, like it's supposed to be. A step, 2 steps. People say I have a longer cane, so it's probably longer than that. But still, my foot wasn't too far away because it didn't hit the bottom joint. It hit the second to last, or even third to last, halfway in between. Because I have five section cane. So I, like, pulled my cane as close as I could. I stopped, obviously, because I was shaking a little bit by this point. And I, like, felt my cane, and it was perfectly fine. And I was like, what the heck? And so, of course, me being me, I'm like, okay, thank you, God, for helping me, because, like, I couldn't handle a broken cane again the second time in less than a week. So, and this is the only one I have left, really, that I can use. So God must have been really looking out for me, because it didn't break. So I went on to class, and then I had the rest of my day, and it was like, wow, like, I've got a miracle cane here, because it got ran over and it was fine. So I guess that's saying something, because this cane came from leader dogs, and so maybe it's like God's way of telling me that maybe I don't need a dog yet because this cane's going to be good enough for me for now. I don't know. But I never would have thought that this cane would be strong enough to handle that. It's just a graphite 5-section folding cane. So who would think that it would be so sturdy to handle that? But apparently it is. So, go folding canes. If it would have been a rigid cane, it would have snapped in two, just because of the force. But this one was lucky because it had the joints, so I think it might have got it right at a joint, and that's why it bent, but it didn't break. So, you guys better believe I was praying. Even crossing in front of the semi, I always send up a prayer, because I'm like, okay, God, help me get this. Because there's so many different things, like maybe they can't see me, or maybe they're just not going to care and just keep going, or something. I say a lot of prayers when I'm walking around, but yeah, that was just scary. So if you guys have any interesting stories about like blind moments or stuff whenever you got almost killed by a car, because see, I've also had people roll down their windows and yell at me that I'm not going fast enough whenever I'm crossing, and they don't realize that I'm listening to other traffic, making sure it's good, because I have had people not stop for me before, because here everything is perpendicular, so they have to stop for you eventually. Some of them will say go ahead and they'll start moving. And I think it's just not everyone. There's just a couple people who want to mess with me. I don't think they would actually hit me, but they might. So I don't take any chances with people. I probably shouldn't have crossed with that semi, but on the other hand, they had stopped for me. It was the only clear time I would get. So I went ahead and, like, thank you, God, for making me alive. And not with a broken foot, because a broken foot with a cane would be horrible. Especially, which I don't know if I would be able to use crutches, but I'm sure me being me, I would figure out a way. Yeah, so that's all of my blind, almost dying story. So if you have any comments or anything that you want to add, like your own story, or maybe just creeping feelings that you felt just crossing certain intersections, feel free to share. And if you're sighted, definitely feel free to share. I feel like a lot of my commenters are blind, so I'd love to hear some sighted input. Maybe because all my viewers are blind, I don't know. I don't know how many of you there are anymore, because I've been going up a lot in subscribers. So I think I'm up to like 22, 23, somewhere around there. Maybe 21, I don't know. I know I'm over 20. So again, feel free to comment, share. I don't care what you do, because I'm posting it to YouTube, so you can definitely do whatever you want with it. So thank you all for watching, and have a good rest of your day.